Greetings and welcome to the 18th episode of the Morrowind Mod of the Month, where we celebrate the best mods released from Morrowind each month. As always, I'm your host, Dark Elf Guy, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best mods released for October 2016. Or, at least the mods that got the highest vote in our online poll anyway. And in total, 24 mods were released from Morrowind over the course of October 2016. A rather slow month overall. But still, we've got some rather interesting mods in our lineup here. And as always, you can find a new online poll for the best mods in November 2016 down in our video description below, as well as down the links for all the mods shown here. And anyway, let's get things sorted with our mod of the month for October 2016, which this time around is Stormkiss Reforged by Stavroguin and Enclavekiller. And we actually showcased this mod not that long ago. And, basically what it does is it sort of does two things, really. First, it expands the mini-quest that directs you to one of the more unique tombs in Vanilla Morrowind. And the second is that it makes the reward for getting through to the end of this tomb a lot more, sort of unique and exciting. Basically, a famed Nord warrior was buried here in a Velothian tomb, along with his armor and weapons, which are now yours for the taking, though you might have to fight through some angry Nord spirits before you can leave. And, the real meat of this mod is, of course, the new set of armor and a battle axe that you can get as a reward for, your dungeon delving. And you can see it here, and it's a really nicely detailed sort of Nordic-style medium armor, slightly similar in design to the Nordic mail armor that you can find on Solstein, but with a rather distinctive, unique look to it. And likewise, the axe that comes with it is also quite grand looking. And real quick, you can see some of the stats here for this new gear. It's medium armor with a pretty decent armor rating overall. That should be quite useful for, mid-level characters. And overall, this is a fantastic armor and weapon mod. And if you're looking for some more armor to wear, or, just like the idea of getting some unique loot from a classic vanilla dungeon, this is definitely a good mod to check out, and certainly worthy of, being our mod of the month for October 2016. And moving on, we have our second choice of the mod of the month, which this time around is Sword Entrance Chimes by R0. And this is really a very small mod that's a bit hard to showcase, really. But basically, what it does is it adds, small little bells to the doors of Imperial traders and merchants, so that when you enter or leave a shop, they'll give off a little chime, much like real-life shops. Now, to demonstrate these chimes, since they're basically the entire purpose of this mod, I'm going to go quiet for a few seconds so you can hear them. Anyway, taking a closer look here, you can see the bell chimes on the door here for the trade house in Cedarneen, and it's a fairly simple looking bell that's, just attached to the door here, and there's a couple of different varieties of bells, and all in all, this is a very simple but, charming and immersive mod that just adds a bit more detail to the world, hence why it's our second choice for the mod of the month for October 2016. And finally, we have our third pick for the mod of the month, which this time around is Greater Samarys By Varlothen. And this is basically a dungeon expansion for one of the more iconic and well-known Velothi tombs in the Bitter Coast region. Over the years, there's been about a dozen mods or so that expand or overhaul the Samarys tomb. Probably more than just about any other tomb in the game, really. But anyway, basically what this mod does is it expands the Samarys tomb with a lower level, which includes some fairly large chambers, more than doubling and, probably tripling actually, the size of the vanilla tomb. And this is done in a nice and lore-friendly fashion, so it blends in perfectly with vanilla Morrowind, which is nice since some of the other tomb expansions out there have, historically not always been lore-friendly. And it's pretty much a standard fair-looking Velothi tomb with the typical undead opponents that you're used to. But there is a slight twist here, with a slight puzzle that you'll have to figure out before you can access the final portion of the tomb. But anyway, I'm going to be skipping over that part because I don't want to, spoil anything. This is a dungeon mod after all. But either way, this is a fine little dungeon romp, hence why it's our third pick for the mod of the month for October 2016. And that pretty much concludes this episode of the Morrowind mod of the month. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to cast your votes for your favourite mods in November. And I'll see you all next time with our next batch of mods.